Welcome to the podcast where we just click play without talking about what we're going to talk about, and so you get you get a
Sometimes you
semi-meaningful
just gotta send it.
conversation. You just gotta send it sometimes.
In case anyone's curious that's listening to this and going, man, what kind of planning goes into these? I'm going to give you a hint. Sometimes 10 minutes, sometimes 10 seconds. Like sometimes, like on a good day, we're like, hey, should we talk about this? Yeah, let's do that. That's cool.
That is cool. You know what? Being able to talk like this, it just is just great.
Yeah, it's more fun. It's more fun
It,
that
it
way.
is fun.
Well, it's funny. We were just talking about like our podcasting equipment. I'm like, this is actually kind of interesting because it's actually something that I get really giddy about. I genuinely love. I love creating content, but of all the things I love buying, I love buying my tech. So I have a list of about, I don't know, probably 20 things that I quote unquote need to buy, and only like maybe one of them do I actually need to increase the quality of the podcast, but a lot of them are just nice, you know.
Yep.
So
Yep. Oh, I
it's
know.
always that way. I do want a nice camera though. See, like that's another thing, right? Nice camera. I'm gonna go drop a quick grand on a camera because just get that slightly
Grand
better
on a
look.
camera, grand on the lens.
Yeah,
It
it
starts
adds
to
up.
add up.
Hmm.
Tripod, everything. Yeah.
But the nice thing is, I think I would actually. That's not true. So funny enough, I started using my drone finally. I learned that you can do that follow feature, the tracking. I didn't know that
Yeah.
was a thing. I didn't know there was any features involved with tracking or point of interest or any of that stuff. I just seriously thought you just flew around with them.
Really.
And I was like, this
It's
is
really nice. Yeah. Really
yeah,
nice.
it makes a huge difference. So that's my problem is that I buy stuff and then I have to have Calvin show me how to use it because I do not know on most of these things. My GoPro, right? To this day, I've used it a handful of times ever. I bought it back in Guatemala, which is like almost 3 years ago.
You bought
And
it in Guatemala?
yeah, so when I was in Guatemala, well, I didn't buy it in Guatemala when I was there. I had Sebastian bring it down.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, I was like, oh, I need this for work.
Yeah.
And I convinced myself that I needed that GoPro for work. And it was a business necessity. So I do that often,
That's so
very
funny.
very often. A lot of business necessities being purchased. Yeah, yeah, all the time actually, all the time. Well, even that drone, I probably really should have gotten like the DJI Mini, or whatever one was the cheapest, easiest one to fly. But I'm like, nah, go big or go home. And so I spent 3 times as much as I needed to get a drone that I might someday use someday, maybe, possibly.
Well, you better use it.
Yeah. Well, I'm learning to now actually. So that's what I should do is probably spend money on a course first. So I should go like hire a teacher to teach me photography skills and get good at it in kind of almost a classroom setting and buy a piece of junk camera. And then when I do buy the nice camera, I'll appreciate it and know how to use it.
True. You can
That's what I'm
also
doing.
you can also just hop on YouTube and watch videos. It's amazing what YouTube
It's true.
offers these days.
Yeah.
It's incredible. You
That's what
ever
I
heard
mean.
the term YouTube University?
I call it Calvin U, where Calvin watches videos and then tells me about them.
I get all my info from YouTube,
I'm
so
not. I'm not exactly the sharpest tool in the shed. So, what works really well for me is when I have my smarter friends go figure stuff out, and then I say, "Hey, so give me like the third grade version of this," and they're like, "Okay," and they explain to me like, "Excellent." That is strategy right there.
that is that is a good strategy. And then little do you know that your friends are learning from teenagers on YouTube how to do the things that you're
Yeah,
wanting to
that's what's
learn.
nuts to me.
Yeah.
Well, that's the way our world's moving. Is that you can get paid 6 figures as a 12-year-old if you just have a really good skill set because people will pay it. Um, Speaking of which, that's a cool thing. I met this actually. I interviewed this guy at one point with a different podcast. His kids created, I think, a 6-figure business as like an 11 and 13-year-old selling socks online.
No way.
Just awesome. Yeah. That's another, like we're talking about super soldier kids. Those are my kids as well. Like I'd love to have my kids. Like, wouldn't that be the coolest thing by the time you were 16 to not even think about money? Like to not have that be a factor for you anymore because you'd already become a self-made, I don't know, millionaire.
I wonder about that though. What does that do to you?
Well, I think it comes back to our conversation as earlier, right? It totally would depend on um, what they do with their free time. If they just play video games and sit around all day, that's not going to help them. But if instead the family, I mean, what I would think would be a very cool family culture, at least what I'm hoping to have in my family, would be that we serve at a high level, and we are always trying to better the lives of others, and we're involved in mission and adding value to the world. And I mean, if that was kind of the family culture, money's going to only make that much, much easier. Because I do think that some people, when they get a lot of money, they just burn themselves to the ground because they don't know what to do with all that time and freedom. And other people, they go and they change lives. So, but I do think, I don't know, tell me if I'm wrong about this, but I think that would be a real kind of superpower. You just don't have to worry about money ever.
What,
That's not-
financial
it's not a
freedom?
concern. What was
Yeah.
that?
You're saying financial freedom is a superpower?
Well, as a kid, to just have the understanding that,
As a
and
kid.
it's not even like your dad gave it to you. Yeah, I mean, sure, I could help my kids understand how to do it, but it'd be really cool to say, no, I mean, this guy's kids, they actively did it themselves. They built the websites, they went to the manufacturers, they got them designed, they got them printed, they learned how to sell them online. The dad was, I mean, he played a very active role, but along the way, the kids did everything. He made sure of that. He told me, he's like, yeah, they did every little step along the way. I just was there as a mentor. So as kids, their perception of money is money's not hard to make. You just go out there and you make it. Like it's not a big deal. You just go do it. And I think it's really cool. I mean, that's really an amazing gift to give someone, is that you look at money as though it's air. It's just, you just breathe it in when you need it. So
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
I don't know. What do you think? What do you think, Cal? Is that toxic for kids, or is that good?
No, I believe it'd be good. Yeah, just
Yeah,
as
we'll
long
see.
as
Maybe my kids
they
will be
know
messed
how to
up.
fill their void,
Find out.
Oh, did I lose you?
There was this kid that I was reading about. There's a lot of teenage millionaires, but it's especially because the way that our world is functioning today. I mean, content creation, a lot of these kids do it as hobbies, and they make an absolute fortune. TikTok has brought in a whole new wave of ways to make money online, especially for kids. Unfortunately, half of these girls are 14 and they dance like 25-year-old strippers, so that's a bummer. Can we talk about that as well? That is going to be the downfall of our civilization, man, is TikTok. I'm almost
Why do you
convinced
say
of it.
that? Yeah.
Because it's just messing up all these girls. I mean, they're learning at such a young age to objectify themselves in order to get likes. I mean, I have been shocked how many people. I saw this TikTok not too long ago, and underneath it she's like, "Relax, I'm 14" or something like that. But dude, she was like wearing the worst clothes you can wear and dancing in the most suggestive way possible. And I'm like, this is like, she was literally dancing like a stripper, right? And I'm thinking to myself, how is this healthy? You know what I mean? I mean, what is this going to produce for our society long term, to have young girls hypersexualizing themselves? And it's a bunch of like creepy, like apparently, I heard that TikTok has become like kind of like it attracts a lot of pedophiles and stuff because of that. Because there's all these like young girls that are just being super, I mean, it makes sense. It makes a lot of sense. Anyways, I just kind of wonder how that's going to affect our society, because this is the first time in history that we've been able to do that so accessibly and so easily. And it's incentivizing people to push that line as hard as they can. So
Yeah. All the
Because it
more
is-
reason to create better content.
exactly. Yeah.
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 I
And I
think
think
that-
that's something sad too, is that people think that that's the way. A lot of these young girls, well, I think what they really want is just, they want attention. And there's so many better ways to do that, But it's going to require more work. I mean, that's like the shortcut. That's the dessert thing, right? It's the quick, easy fix, but it doesn't long term provide any kind of, nutrition. So
Yeah. Yeah. And I think that's true in a lot of different areas of life, as we've kind of become accustomed to, well, I mean, sticking with social media, if it's not like a suggestive video that you're posting of yourself, even just short captions, like just trying to get the quick like and everything like that, or
Hmm.
um, I don't know. I believe that we definitely have become an attention whoring society.
Oh yeah.
uh, I really like. Have you ever tried out the function on Instagram where it says it doesn't tell people how many like it?
I, I've never tried it out, but I've seen it, obviously, right?
Yeah, yeah. I think that's a good step in the direction of letting people worry less about likes. I'll see somebody post something like that, and it's like, oh, okay, who cares honestly about how many likes your video has or likes your photo has.
Hmm.
I mean, it's definitely, we've talked about it before, like the desire to have impact and the desire to uh, be out there and a voice in the world. But I don't know. There's definitely an attention part of it, or we've talked about our egos a little bit and how that affects us a little bit. But
Oh yeah.
I don't know. What do you think?
No, I think you're right. I think that's also going to be our society is already learning to cope with all of these things. So for number one, never in history as well has there ever been so many things out to kill us, right? The food we eat is a lot of times full of crazy chemicals. The the instruments used to cook that food is full of crazy chemicals. Um, we've got a lot of things, the medicines and the different, just the air we breathe. I mean, we've got more toxicity in our world than ever before. But on the flip end, we've got stem cells, and we've got cryotherapy, and we've got hyperbaric pressure chambers, and we've got extremely advanced understanding of nutrition now, and different ways to biohack. So it always rises together. And right now, what I think we're seeing is that this is what's funny to me. This is a crazy phenomenon. Um, what does a super ultra rich tech entrepreneur do with his money? Well, what I've
He
seen
buys
very
Twitter.
commonly. What was that?
He buys Twitter.
True. Um, uh, but what I've seen a lot of these guys do, there's so many of them in this community of what is the right phrase for it? Homesteaders. That's what it is. Homesteading, which is crazy, crazy to me. What people are doing with all the money on earth is they go and buy a little plot of land and pretty much revert back to an agrarian society. It's so funny to me that with all of, when you've made it, and as much as a person can make it in the information age, what you do with all of that capacity, wealth, and power is you go and you choose to live the lifestyle of the most broke guy back in the 1700s. It's crazy. Like we're reverting back to our roots because we can't find fulfillment with a lot of the things that we're doing right now.
Hmm.
People are traveling more than ever, which again almost goes back to that hunter-gatherer nomadic lifestyle. Like we almost thrive by movement and kind of shuffling around, for lack of a better word. So I kind of think that's what's happening as well, is that with all of the problems that our society is facing right now, so are the solutions rising with it. Um, like I said, more than ever, we're seeing ways to heal. We're learning more about how people are connecting with nature. All of it. It's happening. It's needing to be present more than ever because of all the different toxicity that we have. So
It's interesting. I was actually on a hike in Brazil and chatting with this guy that was staying at the hostel. I don't know if I've told you this story before, but it was a $7 hostel, shared room, with about 8 different people in it, and we would just like go on little adventure hikes and stuff. And one day we were hiking, and I was chatting with this one guy that was staying there, and he was worth $44 million, dude.
no way.
And I'm just chatting with him, and I'm like, what are you doing at a $7 a night shared hostel? And he's just said, it's just so much more fun. I I don't want to stay in a nice hotel. I have so much more fun just in a shared room,
Yeah.
meeting people, and I was like, that is super cool. So cool. Um, and then I mean, I've just the other day I was talking about it uh, on the airplane and meeting a CEO of a company just probably probably got things figured out and isn't hurting for cash as you as
Oh
you
yeah.
say.
It's
and
hurting for cash.
and
Yeah.
he's sitting in the back of the plane and just chatting with little old me, right?
Yeah.
uh, I, I th- I think that there's something about when somebody figures it out or makes it big. There's just a yeah lack of fulfillment in just chilling and doing whatever. And so you gotta shake things up, ride coach, stay in a
Yeah.
hostel. It's kind of cool.
Well, and I think that he's definitely onto something. Oh, have you? Oh, this is another great book. Have you read Shoe Dog yet?
Mm.
Oh, you'll love it, man. You would love it especially. It's about is it Frank Knight? What's his first name? Phil Knight. Sorry, Phil Knight, who is the founder of Nike. Um, Kind of one of those personalities. At least from the book, you're kind of almost a little surprised he became really rich because he's just kind of a free spirit. So he traveled all over the world on his own, and that's kind of where he got some of his ideas for Nike. Was that he just saw unique shoes everywhere he went. He said, "I've always loved shoes." He was a runner. He just loved the idea of performance and how the shoes are, there's so much symbolism behind shoes. And so everywhere he'd go, he'd like listen to lore about it and, you know, learn these different allegories and metaphors and also notice the native shoes in the area and the colors and the designs. And so, anyways, this really unique person, and it's kind of cool because after he makes it big, when Nike goes public, I mean I don't know, he's worth like 40 billion or something now, something ridiculous.
It's crazy.
And when Nike explodes, he said we all went nuts. He's like, we all were like driving the fanciest cars, him and all of his team that had stock in the company.
Hmm.
He said, I went through a phase where he said, you never saw me indoors without sunglasses on because I was pretty cool. And just want everyone to know how rich I was. It's kind of funny because they all went through this phase, and then 5 years later, most of them just sold off all their old junk or sold off all their nice stuff and just downgraded their houses, downgraded their cars. One of the guys went out in the woods and found like his own remote place and bought up all the land around it and just reads books and hops on the occasional remote meeting, but just besides that, just lives his best life. There's something with, I think the whole wealth chasing thing is really kind of a fantasy. I mean, well, it's the yeah, they say that you go on this incredible journey only to arrive right where you started and recognize the place for the first time. I think that's how most people's journey for wealth is. You're
Oh
looking for
yeah.
fulfillment. You're looking for something that you can't quite define, and you go all the way around, and you come back right to where you started and go, man, I already had it the whole time.
Dude, have you read The Alchemist?
No, I need to. I
Oh
actually,
my
I really need
gosh. Well, dang it. Now I can't say anything.
to. Okay.
I had a really great point, but now I can't say it.
Okay, okay. I'm gonna read it. I will read it soon because I keep on hearing it cited over and over and over again.
It's
Uh,
so good.
I think I was listening to a Hugh Jackman interview just yesterday, and I think he was talking about The Alchemist. I thought, I need to listen to that one. So,
You do. You
do I need
really
to read
do.
it or listen to it?
I listened to it and then started reading it in Portuguese.
Okay,
Because it was
overachiever.
original. It's written by Paulo Coelho, and I believe that it was written first in Portuguese and then translated into English. So
That's what I was told. Yeah.
yeah,
Has it been meaningful in Portuguese for you?
has it been meaningful?
Yeah, like I mean, for me,
Like, can
when
I
I've
understand it?
uh, more than understanding it, has it been worth the effort to read it in Portuguese?
Yeah.
Okay, getting more out of it than you would have in the English version.
No, I got more out of it in the English version,
Okay,
just because my mind can focus better, just because
right.
it's my native language. But it
Right.
is it is good to read in Portuguese as well. So
Yeah, I'll definitely add it to the list. It's funny actually. Reading in a foreign language is tough. It really is because language is so powerful. Like the words, we associate so many emotions with different words. And I was reading Anna Karenina in Russian, and that's a nightmare and a half, by the way.
Not really.
Yeah, it's a long book, and I got into it, and I was like, no, no, I'm not going to finish this one. Not in Russian, anyways. But it was funny because there was a lot of humor. This is what was crazy to me. There was a lot of parts there where he was using deliberate wordplay that you could not translate into English. I mean, just not possible. You couldn't even describe it in English almost because there were just really subtle little word plays he was throwing into some of these early chapters. And I'm sitting there reading, going, "Oh, this is so creative. That's so funny how he said that. That's what like a funny phrase." And I tried to even explain it to a friend. I'm like, "Well, I can't. You don't speak Russian. You wouldn't understand." So pros
funny.
and cons, right? Pros and cons. But yeah, I could
Pros
not.
and cons.
It's so hard for me to read it. That was so hard and especially because it's old. I had to look up tons of words I didn't know, and I couldn't get into flow at all with reading it. So
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
it's definitely-
Well, read The Alchemist, okay?
I will. It's
Okay.
that is on the to-do list.
All right. Well, move it a couple notches up on your to-do list so that I can share this concept. But pretty much, what we seek is sometimes just right in front of us. So
Yeah.
that is all I will say.
Tony Robbins talks a lot about that. He said that, well, he kind of, it was just one of the speeches I listened to. I listened to just a lot of random content, but he was giving this talk somewhere. I have no memory of when or where this was, but I remember this point very distinctly. I think he brought someone up on stage and said, "So tell me, like, what do you want?" He's like, "Oh, I want this and this and this," and he started talking, and he said, "So you want the big car or the big house?" "Oh yeah, like, and I can get it because the power of the mind," and he was going into Think and Grow Rich theory. And then you want the big fancy car, and at the end of it, he displayed that what he really wanted was the big yacht and the fancy lifestyle. And he said, "So why do you want this stuff?" He's like, "Well, because it would be exciting and adventurous, and well, let's go into the house. Why do you want that house?" "Oh, because it's beautiful and it's artistic." He's like, "But really, you can admire someone else's beautiful house, can't you?" "Well, yeah, that's true." And then like they kept talking, and as they got deeper and deeper and deeper, what he was really saying was, "I want people to notice me. I want more friends, and I think if I have a nice house, people will want to come over more often, and I'll have more friendships, and more meaningful friendships. I want to feel like the things that I do matter. I want to feel like I'm not going to be forgotten after I die." Like it was kind of weird. Like he got down to some of these really deep, because when you really analyze why we want the fancy car, it's all emotional. It's not to go fast. We can say it's to go fast. It's not about efficiency. It's truly, we want an emotional response from it. And I like nice stuff. I'm not going to deny that for a second. But I think you can really easily fall down that rabbit hole, right, where you start to believe that the things that are going to make you happy are material. And the funny thing is, so then Tony Robbins says, he's like, "Okay, so you want to feel better about yourself." And so he went through this exercise, and he said, "Now how do you feel?" He's like, "I feel amazing." "Do you still feel like you need that car?" He's like, "I don't need it, but I could get it anyways. It'd only be like a little extra cherry on top. It's not going to be the fundamental reason I feel good about myself." So
Wow.
that's kind of what I've realized as well, is that's where wealth can be really deceiving and very toxic, is if you start to think that it will solve those problems.
Man, yeah. That's good. That reminds me, Tony Robbins actually does an exercise called 7 Levels Deep. Have you ever done it or heard of it?
No, I haven't.
Okay.
Oh,
It sounds
I've heard of it. I've never done it though.
okay. It kind of sounds like what he was doing to that guy up on stage. Like, I was just looking it up here. I have I have a note on my phone, and you pretty much just ask yourself, what is the most important thing to you?
Mm-hmm.
And you'll answer that, and then you ask, okay, why is that important to me? And then you answer that, and then it's kind of a way to find your why. So for example, if he said that what was important to him was having a nice car, having a house, everything like that,
Mm-hmm.
then yeah, you just start asking why 7 different times. And so, man, I loved it. I just kind of went on a total journey when I did the 7 levels deep.
Yeah.
I actually, do you wanna hear a little bit of it?
Yeah, yeah. Tell me.
So pretty much, okay. So you ask what your main goal is. That's what it is. So my main goal was to educate myself and become my greatest self. And then you just ask yourself, okay, why? Why do I want to educate myself, become my best self? And for me, it's because I feel good and in control of my life when I know what's going on.
Hmm.
Okay, why do I love feeling in control of my life and knowing what's going on? It's important because I can do what I want without other agendas.
Yeah.
Um, and I mean, I can just keep going down the list here because it
Yeah.
really
No. Fire away. Fire away.
changed my perspective on why I want what I like, why my goal is to become my best self, you know? And and it's important to not have other agendas. Like I I don't have to worry about finances or wasting my life away doing mundane things that don't really matter
Mm.
and spend more time helping people, you know, um, helping, inspiring, educating. So, why is it important to me to help inspire and educate? When I help somebody, it gives me a sense of real accomplishment. I feel happy. What's important about getting a sense of accomplishment? I want to live my life with purpose. And what's important about living a life with purpose? I discovered that I don't like being directionless and I want to help other people gain direction faster. And so like as I started
Mm.
going down this list, I realized, "Oh my gosh, I guess I do feel directionless sometimes." And my core my core desire of like educating myself and becoming my greatest self kind of links back to me having felt directionless at times, and then my desire to help people find direction has kind of led me into a path of education and of teaching about travel, for example, and helping young adults who just come out of high school who don't know exactly what to do with their life. My like that is one of my deepest desires is to help that kind of person who
Yeah.
doesn't really know how to take a gap year or discover what they want. So um, yeah, it's a powerful little tool to kind of figure out your why.
Hmm. Start with why, right?
Mm-hmm.
Begin with the end in mind. It's funny because that's like most of the wisdom that's out there will have some piece of that in it. And if you don't, you know, if you don't have a very clear vision of what really is the motivation behind your actions and your efforts, then you're kind of just spinning your wheels, you know.
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
is that is very interesting. Calvin, that's I think that's a worthy place to end in this episode. Find
Cool.
that why.
Find the why.
Huh. Well, awesome.
Yeah.
Any other parting thoughts?
No, I guess just to sum it up, to find your why, ask yourself, what is my main goal, or what is something that's the most important to me, and then just start asking yourself why. Ask yourself why 7 different times, and you'll start. I mean, I literally started to cry when I did this episode, when I did this exercise, just kind of discovering why I think the way I think, why I do the things that I do. And I mean, after I've just got paragraphs and paragraphs after that. Like, I actually, in my note, I kind of stop and I don't even finish the last sentence. And I've just got paragraphs of like, I understand myself now. I
Hmm.
know why I do what I do. And yeah,
Yeah.
discovering the why is so powerful. So
Yeah.
that's my parting thought.
Awesome. Guys, I think that's some pretty amazing wisdom. We'll see you guys on the next episode. Thanks for joining us today for another semi-meaningful conversation.
Peace.